shining, keeping in step with the famous tune of Sound Barrier. Look at their faces filled with pride and eyes shining with determination. As they put their best foot forward, they march today on their way to becoming worthy officers of the Indian Air Force. Look at the marching contingents of the Flight Cadets in the blue Air Force uniform. Arms swinging, heels digging in, heads held high. Proud of the Indian Air Force heritage and motto, touch the sky with glory. Whether in the sky or on the ground, these air warriors would approach their task with confidence, dedication and pride.
Now the parade. Academy Cadet Adjutant couple will hand over the command of the parade to the Parade Commander, Squadron Cadet Captain Rohan Krishnamurty. Armed forces perform parades for ceremonial purposes as a show of discipline, to display the military might and to instill confidence in the country's military forces. Parade is a powerful aid to inculcate discipline and to develop a sense of military pride amongst the personnel of armed forces. The precision of parade is not only a sign of good discipline and camaraderie, but also a crucial element in raising the standards of military service.
gentlemen, may I draw your attention to your right as the Nishan Toli is about to march in before you. When the Nishan Toli is presented arms, all are requested to rise and those in uniform are requested to salute.
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, जब निशान को सलामी दी जाए तब आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि आप अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं और जो वर्दी में हैं वे सलामी दें।
निशान चले, निशान लेकर चल।
अब परेड हमारे समक्ष है। वायुसेना अकादमी के कमांडेंट, एयर ऑफिसर कमांडिंग इन चीफ प्रशिक्षण कमान एवं वायुसेना अध्यक्ष के आते ही परेड सभी का अभिवंदन करेगी। हैदराबाद has the proud legacy of shaping many distinguished officers and soldiers of our armed forces. The Air Officer Commanding in Chief Training Command completed his schooling here. It is a moment of immense pride that his school teachers, the very mentors who helped shape his early journey, are present here among us today to witness this parade.
Ladies and gentlemen, after having introduced the flying branch in the beginning, let me now introduce to you what duty each officer of the ground duty branches who are graduating today would perform in the Indian Air Force. The Weapon Systems branch is responsible for operational employment of all ground-based and specialist airborne weapon systems. The Flight Cadets of Weapon Systems branch are divided into flying, remote, surface and intelligence streams. The second batch of 22 Flight Cadets from Weapon Systems branch would be getting commissioned today. The Engineering branch is responsible for safe and efficient conduct of maintenance activities on aircraft, weapon, communication, information technology and other support systems held in the Indian Air Force. 25 Flight Cadets of Engineering branch would be getting commissioned today.
The Administration branch Flight Cadets are bifurcated into fighter controllers and air traffic controllers. Today, of the 49 trainees of the Administration branch, 25 would be commissioned into the Indian Air Force as air traffic controllers and 24 as fighter controllers. The logistics branch flight cadets are trained in supply chain management, procurement processes, inventory control, and spares management. 28 flight cadets of the logistics branch will get their commission today. The accounts branch is responsible for the pay and allowances of all personnel posted at the stations. They are also responsible for the efficient financial management of all the funds. Today, 9 flight cadets of the accounts branch will get their commission.
The education branch is responsible for training and professional development of Indian Air Force personnel. They develop and implement educational programs, curriculum, and training material. Today, 10 flight cadets of the education branch will get their commission. The meteorology branch is responsible for providing accurate and timely weather information to support air operations. Today, 11 flight cadets of meteorology branch will get their commission.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Navita Arjun Vora, President, Air Force Families Welfare Association Local, has arrived. She is being received by Mrs. Dipti Aswal. The combined graduation parade takes place twice a year at the Air Force Academy. The President's Commission is awarded to the flight cadets of various branches on successful completion of their training during this combined graduation parade. The major activities of CGP are to present arms to the reviewing officer and inspection of the parade by reviewing officer. This is followed by the commissioning ceremony, felicitation of award winners, oath-taking ceremony, and the reviewing officer's address. After the Nishan Toli exits the ground, the newly commissioned officers would march past the dais in a slow march. As they march past the dais, they offer their first salute to the reviewing officer. This marks the culmination of the combined graduation parade. The planning and coordination of the combined graduation parade has been accomplished under the guidance of CGP Secretary.
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, एयर मार्शल प्रवीण केशव वोहरा, अति विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, वायुसेना मेडल, कमांडेंट वायुसेना अकादमी का आगमन हो रहा है।
Ladies and gentlemen, Air Marshal Praveen Keshav Vora, Ati Vishish Seva Medal, Vayu Sena Medal, Commandant Air Force Academy has arrived. He is being received by Deputy Commandant Air Force Academy. Jai Shivan!
Stand, please.
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, आप सभी के समक्ष प्रस्तुत परेड में मौजूद फ्लाइट कैडेट को विंग कमांडर SD राजा, सीनियर इंस्ट्रक्टर आउटडोर ट्रेनिंग और वारंट ऑफिसर SK दहिया, वारंट ऑफिसर इंचार्ज आउटडोर ट्रेनिंग के काबिल दल ने प्रशिक्षित किया है। The planning and coordination of the combined graduation parade and related activities have been accomplished under the guidance of the CGP Secretary, Group Captain Dilip Bhalchandra Bhagwat. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Nancy Singh, President Afar Regional, has arrived. She is being received by Mrs. Navita Arjun Vora. आज परेड में नंबर 1 और नंबर 3 वायुसेना बैंड मौजूद है, जिसका नेतृत्व जूनियर वारंट ऑफिसर के श्रीधर कर रहे हैं। वे एक क्वालिफाइड बैंड मास्टर और फ्रेंच हॉर्न प्लेयर है। वे 2001 से गणतंत्र दिवस और बीटिंग रिट्रीट में भाग ले रहे हैं। इन्होंने फ्रांस, इटली और म्यांमार में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मिलिट्री म्यूजिकल फेस्टिवल और टैटू में भाग लिया है। बैंड आज विशेष रूप से कार्यक्रम के लिए चुनी गई चुनिंदा सैन्य धुनें बजाएगा। शुरुआत में आपको साउंड बैरियर की धुन सुनाई दी। इसके अलावा आप इवनिंग स्टार, एस्ट्रोनॉट, ट्वाइलाइट, विजय भारत, एयर बैटल और लड़ाकू भी सुन सकेंगे। नवनियुक्त अधिकारी और लैंग साइन की धुन पर, जो सैनिकों की एक परिचित धुन है, धीरे चाल में मार्च करेंगे। अंत में सारे जहां से अच्छा की धुन पर बैंड मार्च करेगा।
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, एयर मार्शल तेजिंदर सिंह, अति विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, वायुसेना मेडल, एयर ऑफिसर कमांडिंग इन चीफ प्रशिक्षण कमान का आगमन हो रहा है।
Ladies and gentlemen, Air Marshal Tejinder Singh, अति विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, वायु सेना मेडल, Air Officer Commanding in Chief Training Command has arrived. He is being received by Commandant Air Force Academy.
जय शिवान। जय शिवान।
आइए अब इस परेड में दी जाने वाली वाले पुरस्कारों के बारे में बताते हैं ताकि आप उनके महत्व से अवगत हो। ग्राउंड ड्यूटी कोर्स से फर्स्ट इन ओवरऑल ऑर्डर ऑफ मेरिट प्रशिक्षु को प्रेसिडेंट्स प्लाक दिया जाता है। पायलट कोर्स से फर्स्ट इन ओवरऑल ऑर्डर ऑफ मेरिट प्रशिक्षु को प्रेसिडेंट्स प्लाक और चीफ ऑफ द एयर स्टाफ स्वॉर्ड ऑफ ऑनर दिया जाता है।
The crest of the Air Force Academy is a Himalayan eagle within a roundel placed directly below the state emblem, which is a replica of the symbol of the Ashok Stamb. In addition to imparting professional knowledge and developing skills, the Academy endeavors to teach a value system that shapes the character of the graduating trainees in the best tradition of the Academy motto Shram Se Siddhi, which is achievement through diligence. And gentlemen, Mrs. Sarita Singh, President, Air Force Families Welfare Association, has arrived. She is being received by Mrs. Nancy Singh and Mrs. Navita Arjun Gowda. Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to apprise you of the sequence of flypast for today's event. As the parade presents arms to the reviewing officer, 3 Pilatus PC-7 Mark II aircraft led by Wing Commander Jay Nath Purohit will fly past. Later, 3 Chetak helicopters led by Wing Commander Deepika Mishra, Vayu Sena Medal, will give an airborne salute when the marching contingent approaches the dais. When the parade presents arms once again in reviewing order, 3 Pilatus PC-7 Mark II would be flying past. Thereafter, as the graduating officers are marching past the dais, 3 Kiran aircraft led by Wing Commander Manorat Singh Sabarwal, and later 3 Hawk aircraft led by Wing Commander Tejas Kavade will fly past the parade ground.
और सज्जनों, आज के हमारे समीक्षा अधिकारी एयर चीफ मार्शल एपी सिंह परम विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, अति विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, वायु सेना अध्यक्ष का आगमन हो रहा है।
Ladies and gentlemen, the reviewing officer for today's parade, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Chief of the Air Staff, has arrived. He is being received by the AOCNC Training Command and Commandant Air Force Academy.
शिवान जय हिंद दीक्षांत परेड आपके निरीक्षण के हाजिर शिवान जय शिवान जय हिंद
The Chief of the Air Staff will now inspect the graduation parade.
Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh took over the command of the Indian Air Force on 30th September 2024. He was commissioned into the fighter stream of the Indian Air Force on 21st December 1984. An alumnus of National Defence Academy, Defence Services Staff College and National Defence College, he is a qualified flying instructor and an experimental test pilot with more than 5,000 hours of service flying on a variety of fixed and rotary wing aircraft. His operational tenures include being the commanding officer of a MiG-27 squadron and air officer commanding of a frontline air base. As a test pilot, he led the MiG-29 upgrade project management team in Moscow, Russia. He was also the project director of flight test at National Flight Test Center, looking after the flight testing of Tejas. Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh has held staff appointments of Air Defence Commander at Headquarters Southwestern Air Command and Senior Air Staff Officer at Headquarters Eastern Air Command. He then took over as Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Central Air Command. Prior to taking over as the 28th Chief of the Air Staff, the Air Officer held the appointment of Vice Chief of Air Staff. He is married to Mrs. Sarita Singh. The couple is blessed with a son and a daughter.
Now introducing you to the parade commanders. The parade adjutant, Academy Cadet Adjutant, Kapil. Squadron Commander of Number 1 Squadron, which is being reviewed now, Squadron Cadet Captain, Suryadev. Squadron Commander, Number 2 Squadron, Women Cadet Captain, Nishtha Vaid. The Nishan Toli is being led by Flight Cadet Nitin Sharma. Squadron Commander, Number 3 Squadron, Academy Cadet Captain Tushar Sharma. Squadron Commander, Number 4 Squadron, Women Cadet Adjutant Anjali Gill.
Ladies and gentlemen, for over 9 decades, the Indian Air Force has relentlessly operated in peace and war and never let its guard down. We, the Air Warriors, are always prepared to defend our skies each and every time. Right in front is written the vision statement of the Indian Air Force: people first, mission always. The vision statement underscores the importance that Indian Air Force places in its personnel, as the man or woman behind the machine would eventually decide the outcome of any operational endeavor. While induction of the state-of-the-art equipment and systems upgrades the combat potential of Indian Air Force, our people remain our most valuable asset and the biggest strength. During their training at the Air Force Academy, the flight cadets being commissioned today have imbibed knowledge, leadership skills, and value systems.
जय जय श्रीमान। दीक्षांत परेड को मन से गुजरने की आज्ञा है श्रीमान।
आज्ञा है।
जय श्रीमान।
जय हिंद।
Now, you can see the parade commander marching towards the left to take his position beside the parade adjutant.
अकेले हासिल नहीं होता, साथ मिलकर चलने का साहस कोई गैर नहीं रखता। एक फौजी की पहचान सिर्फ उसके नाम से नहीं होती, कभी पूछ कर देखो तो अपनी टुकड़ी से ही वे अपना नाम और अपने कर्मों से अपनी टुकड़ी की पहचान बतलाते हैं। परेड में शामिल फ्लाइट कैडेट अब आपके सामने मार्च करते हुए अपने कौशल, तालमेल और अनुशासन का प्रदर्शन करेंगे।
Ladies and gentlemen, when the Nishan Toli passes in front of you, all are requested to rise and those in uniform to salute.
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, जब निशान टोली आपके सामने से गुजरती है तो आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि आप अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं और जो वर्दी में है वे सलामी दें। मंच के आगे से गुजरने से पहले परेड निकट लाइन से खुली लाइन में बदल जाएगी और धीमी मार्च करते हुए माननीय वायुसेना अध्यक्ष का अभिवंदन करेगी।
As the marching contingent approaches the dais, may I now direct your attention to the 3 Chetak helicopter formation led by Wing Commander Deepika Mishra, Vayusena Medal, approaching from left to give an airborne salute to the reviewing officer. quick march to reposition in front of the dais. The band is now marching in front of you, playing the tune Vijay Bharat, composed by Master Warrant Officer J.A. George, Vishisht Seva Medal.
Parade holds great significance in armed forces. The word parade comes from the old tradition of formation combat, in which the soldiers were held in strict formations to maximize their combat effectiveness. Although close combat has given way to the coordinated three-dimensional application of military force, modern military organizations still use parades on important national events for ceremonial purposes as well as to inculcate self-discipline. It reinforces discipline and esprit de corps and instills sense of pride in uniform. Parade is thus a way of life for the personnel in the armed forces, as it also portrays the might of the country's armed forces and level of war preparedness. As the parade contingent marches by, arms swinging in synchronization, heels digging in, we are proud of the burning desire that the training at the Air Force Academy has kindled in these young trainees.
इन फ्लाइट कैडेट्स के जोश और जज्बे को देखकर माखनलाल चतुर्वेदी की पंक्तियां याद आती हैं कि चाह नहीं मैं सुरबाला के गहनों में गूंथा जाऊं, चाह नहीं प्रेमी माला में बिंद प्यारी को ललचाऊं, चाह नहीं सम्राटों के शव पर हे हरि डाला जाऊं, चाह नहीं देवों के सिर पर चढ़ूं भाग्य पर इठलाऊं, मुझे तोड़ लेना वनमाली, उस पथ पर देना तुम फेंक, मातृभूमि पर शीश चढ़ाने जिस पर जावे वीर अनेक।
After the parade halts, it would present general salute to the Chief of the Air Staff in a reviewing order.
Silence! Touch! Stand break! Samne! Set! Stand break! Kuni run! Done! Stand break! समीक्षा क्रम में आगे बढ़ेगा मध्य से तेज चल Stand break! General salute! Salame! Chas! Stand break! Bacho! Chas! Stand break! Bombing! Chas! Stand break! Action करें! तेज चल!
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, अब आप देख सकते हैं फ्लाइट कैडेट्स आगे बढ़ते हुए पदवी आयोगदान के लिए 3 अनुभागों में मंच के सामने खड़े होंगे। वहीं आपकी दाहिनी ओर से जूनियर कैडेट्स एयर क्रू बैजेस लिए और कमीशन होने वाले फ्लाइट कैडेट्स के कैप के सफेद बैंड और कंधे से सफेद फ्लैशेस हटाने के लिए अपना स्थान ले रहे हैं। आज फ्लाइट कैडेट्स के 3 अनुभागों को वायुसेना अध्यक्ष, एयर ऑफिसर कमांडिंग इन चीफ प्रशिक्षण कमांड और कमांडांट वायुसेना अकादमी द्वारा पदवी आयोगदान की जाएगी।
जय श्रीमान दीक्षांत परेड आयोगदान पुरस्कार वितरण और शपथ ग्रहण के लिए तैयार है श्रीमान। जय श्रीमान।
The trainees being commissioned today are Flying Officer Rohan Krishnamurty, Flying Officer Divyanshu Dwivedi,
Flying Officer Yash Nelwal,
Flying Officer Fiza Ahmed,
Flying Officer Ayush Kamboj,
Flying Officer Amartya Singh,
Flying Officer Amarjot Singh,
Flying Officer Anurag Trigunayak,
Flying Officer Abhijit Kadam,
Flying Officer Damandeep Singh,
Flying Officer Dhananjay,
Flying Officer Arpit Bhadoria,
Flying Officer Giriraj Singh,
Flying Officer Keshav Joshi,
Flying Officer Rishi Agarwal,
Flying Officer Vishnu Singh,
Flying Officer K.E. Suraj Kumar,
Flying Officer Manish Kumar,
Flying Officer Sushmita Saxena,
Flying Officer Kapil,
Flying Officer Anmol Rathi,
Flying Officer Pasupula Navneet Sukumar,
Flying Officer Harshit Hooda,
Flying Officer Nidhi Panghal,
Flying Officer Jay Savant,
Flying Officer Rohit Singh Rathod,
Flying Officer Ritvik Sogala,
Flying Officer Anshu Som,
Flying Officer Abhishek Kumar,
Flying Officer Pranav Uppal,
Flying Officer Utkarsh Bharti,
Flying Officer Nikhil Thakur,
Flying Officer Arthraj Kumar,
Flying Officer Abhishek Patel,
Flying Officer Sardhara Bhagwat Bharat Bhai,
Flying Officer Aryan,
Flying Officer Ajay Tavar,
Flying Officer Divakar Mohan Khandelwal,
Flying Officer Rishabh Singh,
Flying Officer Akash Kumar Chahal,
Flying Officer Aditya Chandrakant Hande,
Flying Officer Manisha Singh,
Flying Officer Harshit Menaria,
Flying Officer Ganesh Kumar,
Barkab! March! Ugly line! Dead! Dead!
Flying Officer Priyansh Doodi,
Flying Officer Anurag Singh,
Flying Officer Shashwat Srivastav,
Flying Officer Satvik Pandey,
Flying Officer Naveen Kumar Tiwari,
Flying Officer Aryan Kaushik,
Flying Officer Himanshu Singh Tomar,
Flying Officer Utkarsh Singh Shekhawat,
Flying Officer Devashri Sudhir Nimbhorkar,
Flying Officer Aman Ujwal,
Flying Officer Vaibhav Parashar,
Flying Officer Gunugudi Vijaya Nivritti,
Flying Officer Kartike,
Flying Officer Akash Bhadoria,
Flying Officer Vidhi,
Flying Officer Kabir Punjabi,
Flying Officer Uttam Chillar,
Flying Officer Ashutosh Suman,
Flying Officer Suryadev,
Flying Officer Aditya Upadhyay,
Flying Officer Aman God,
Flying Officer Anjali Gill,
Flying Officer Kartik Bhati,
Flying Officer ML Singh,
Flying Officer Shashank,
Flying Officer Bineet Singh Anand,
Flying Officer Surjo Roy,
Flying Officer Abhijit Zadhav,
Flying Officer Parol Dangi,
Flying Officer Ashish Kumar Sharma,
Flying Officer Shubham Jangra,
Flying Officer Chavi Sehrawat,
Flying Officer Aditya Santosh Bhalerao,
Flying Officer Rajat Sharma,
Flying Officer Pooja Jangra,
Flying Officer Raj Jitesh Kumar Rathod,
Flying Officer Sanatan Sharma,
Flying Officer Sudarshan Pradhan,
Flying Officer Chirag Dhillo,
Flying Officer Varsham Jain,
Flying Officer Aryan Srivastav,
Flying Officer Robin Bishnoi,
Barkab! March! March the line! Dead! Dead!
Flying Officer Navjot Singh,
Flying Officer Gaurav Balhara,
Flying Officer Sunny Ujwal,
Flying Officer Ronit Kumar,
Flying Officer Abhinav Chillar,
Flying Officer Shriram Kshirsagar,
Flying Officer Anshu Prakash,
Flying Officer Jatin Jangra,
Flying Officer Sakshi Komar,
Flying Officer Ritik Singh Sengar,
Flying Officer Divyanshu Mishra,
Flying Officer Anjali,
Flying Officer Rajat Dhaka,
Flying Officer Vaibhav Singh,
Flying Officer Aryan Mishra,
Flying Officer Himanshu Pandey,
Flying Officer Abhinav Mishra.
Flying Officer Vakar Ayub.
Flying Officer Satakshi Bhatt.
Flying Officer Aniruddha Rao A.
Flying Officer Lokendra Singh Rathod.
Flying Officer Monish Nilesh Lad.
Flying Officer Harsh Kumar.
Flying Officer Lalit Kumar Chauhan.
Flying Officer Ritvik Kaistha.
Flying Officer Mohit Pratap Singh.
Flying Officer Yash Dela.
Flying Officer Gaurav Kumar.
Flying Officer Vishaka Joshi.
Flying Officer Aditya Sharma.
Flying Officer Ansh Sharma.
Flying Officer Vandana Yadav.
Flying Officer Manik Sharma.
Flying Officer Aditya.
Flying Officer Ayush Negi.
Flying Officer Srijan Kumar.
Flying Officer Shubham Pandey.
Flying Officer Priya Malpani.
Flying Officer Mitesh Balhara.
Flying Officer Antarjot Singh.
Flying Officer Pratap Singh.
Flying Officer Harshul Khatri.
Move! Pichli line! Test! Chal!
Flying Officer Kushagra Bajpai.
Flying Officer Sukhwinder Singh Virk.
Flying Officer Tushita Singh.
Flying Officer Sachin Vijay Murkute.
Flying Officer Harsh Pawar.
Flying Officer Ajit Singh.
Flying Officer Tarde Aniket Vijay.
Flying Officer Manbir Singh Randhawa.
Flying Officer Shivam Singh Dogra.
Flying Officer Ayush.
Flying Officer Aditya Singh.
Flying Officer Kriti S. Bisht.
Flying Officer Aman Kumar Singh.
Flying Officer Shubhankar Joshi.
Flying Officer Mote Mansi Hemant.
Flying Officer Bhaswar Sarkar.
Flying Officer Barun Dev Singh.
Flying Officer Soumyadeep Kar.
Flying Officer PJVS Dora.
Flying Officer Anand Kaushik.
Flying Officer Swastik Bhardwaj.
Flying Officer Anjani Nandan Tiwari.
Flying Officer Astha Singh.
Flying Officer Prashant Bhati.
Flying Officer Kanishk Chauhan.
Flying Officer Vikram Singh Yadav.
Flying Officer Ashish Madwal.
Flying Officer Vishal Tyagi.
Flying Officer Satvik Tiwari.
Flying Officer Rishabh Kumar.
Flying Officer Meet Tandon.
Flying Officer Himani Pavadia.
Flying Officer Ritesh Behra.
Flying Officer Abhishek Sangwan.
Flying Officer Shruti Singh.
Flying Officer Abhijit Singh.
Flying Officer Yugjit.
Flying Officer Devyanshi Agarwal.
Flying Officer Atul Vivek.
Flying Officer Reddy Dinesh Manisai.
Flying Officer Abdul Majid.
Flying Officer Aditya Pundir.
Flying Officer Neelajit Saria.
Flying Officer Rahul Singh Shekhawat.
Flying Officer Danish Ahmad.
Flying Officer Lokesh Sharma.
Flying Officer Sahil Sharma.
Flying Officer Mantasha Shaheen Kamar.
Flying Officer Ajay Anand Rao Nimbalkar.
Flying Officer Nitin Yadav.
Flying Officer Dushyant Kumar.
Flying Officer Dishant.
Flying Officer Akshat Singh Ahlawat.
Flying Officer Kiran Singh Bhadoria.
Flying Officer Abhishek.
Flying Officer Aditya Singh.
Flying Officer Sachin Kumar.
Flying Officer Adarsh Podwal.
Flying Officer Yudhvir Jakhad.
Flying Officer Shreyansh Rajput.
Flying Officer Nishtha Ved.
Flying Officer Aman Nair.
Flying Officer Ankit Kumar.
Flying Officer Tushar Sharma.
Flying Officer Pranjal Sehrawat.
Flying Officer Saurabh Bisht.
Flying Officer Sharon Soni.
Flying Officer Aditya Kashyap.
Flying Officer Siddharth Puri.
Flying Officer Punyatyagi.
Flying Officer Ayushi Yadav.
Flying Officer Shubham Kumar.
Flying Officer Omkar Kulkarni.
Flying Officer Ritika Shehrawat.
Flying Officer Saurav Singh.
Flying Officer Surya Prakash Dwivedi.
Flying Officer Ankush Punya.
Flying Officer Vivek Sharma.
Flying Officer Shivam Yadav.
Flying Officer Pradeep.
Flying Officer Abhishek Dhawala.
Flying Officer Mansi Rajput.
Flying Officer Alisha.
Flying Officer Varun Pandey.
Flying Officer Naveen Kumar.
Flying Officer Abhishek Dasila.
Flying Officer Shobit Semwal.
Flying Officer Kashinath Yadav.
Flying Officer Advitya Dikshit.
Flying Officer Kapadia Janvi.
Flying Officer Gokul Girish.
Flying Officer Kalyan Chakravarti.
Flying Officer Shashwat Shandilya.
Flying Officer Chirag Yadav.
Flying Officer Anurag Negi.
Flying Officer Harshita Sharma.
Flying Officer Vaibhav Rajawat.
Flying Officer Ayush Chauhan.
Flying Officer Sanjay Kumar.
Flying Officer Tanay Dagur.
Flying Officer Aditya Dhiman.
Flying Officer Rachit Shukla.
Flying Officer Vastav Methani.
Flying Officer Kaustubh Patil.
Flying Officer Mayur A. Dhakne.
Flying Officer Shardul Jaiswal.
Flying Officer Keshav Chauhan.
Flying Officer Milanjeet Singh.
Flying Officer Prashant Pandey.
Flying Officer Narvijay Singh.
Flying Officer Anuj Pratap Singh.
Flying Officer Upendra Gurjar.
Flying Officer Akash Kumar.
Flying Officer Jatin Bagadi.
Flying Officer Dhiran Mohan.
Flying Officer Saptarshi Kar.
Flying Officer Sahil Yadav.
Flying Officer Kumar Vivek Anand.
Flying Officer Ruhi Dhiman.
Flying Officer Pedinti Hemant.
Flying Officer Shubham Verma.
Flying Officer Chitresh Chaudhary.
Flying Officer Arman Singh.
Flying Officer Harnoor Singh.
Flying Officer Udit Pradeep Dubey.
Flying Officer N. Pavanaditya Naidu.
Now, the Chief of Air Staff would award wings to 9 officers of the Indian Navy
7 officers of the Indian Coast Guard, and 1 foreign trainee from Vietnam. Lieutenant Aniket Kashyap. Lieutenant Ashish Payasi. Lieutenant Ashutosh Kumar. Lieutenant G.V. Raman. Lieutenant Akash V. Nair. Lieutenant K. Vishnu Raj. Sub-Lieutenant Parth Mahajan. Sub-Lieutenant Atul Kumar Tiwari. Sub-Lieutenant Lakshmi Nada Reddy. Assistant Commandant Yashasvi Jaiswal. Assistant Commandant Rishabh Joshi. Assistant Commandant Himanshu Verma. Assistant Commandant Prithvi Biradar. Assistant Commandant Saurabh Singh. Assistant Commandant Ajay Kumar. Assistant Commandant Dhairyashil Gavli. Cadet Din Huang Hui.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the crowning moment for individual achievers, wherein the Chief of the Air Staff would felicitate the award winners. President's Plaque, first in overall order of merit, Ground Duty Officers Course, goes to Flying Officer Nishtha Ved of Administration Branch.
Change him on!
Ready, sir? Thank you, sir.
Change him on!
President's Plaque and Chief of the Air Staff Sword of Honor for standing first in overall order of merit, Flying Branch, goes to Flying Officer Rohan Krishnamurty.
Sir.
Jai Shriman!
Ready, sir? Thank you, sir. Ready, sir? Thank you, sir.
जय श्रीमान।
The Commandant, Air Force Academy, will now administer the oath to the newly commissioned officers.
Stand break. Stand. Turn.
आप मेरे मैं बोलने के पश्चात अपना सर्विस नंबर, रैंक और नाम बोलें और मेरे साथ दोहराएं। मैं ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची निष्ठा और वफादारी रखूंगा और मैं भारतीय संघ की भारतीय सेना में सेवा के प्रति वचनबद्ध रूप में ईमानदारी और विश्वसनीयता के साथ सेवा करूंगा और जहां भी आदेश किया जाए हवाई, भूमि या समुद्री मार्ग से जाऊंगा और अपनी जान की आखिरी सांस तक भारत के राष्ट्रपति और मेरे ऊपर रखे गए किसी भी अफसर के सभी आदेशों को मानूंगा और उनका पालन करूंगा।
जय श्रीमान। दीक्षांत परेड आपके अभिभाषण के लिए तैयार है श्रीमान। जय श्रीमान।
परेड को विश्राम दीजिए।
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief of the Air Staff will now address the parade.
AOC&C Training Command, Commandant Air Force Academy, commanders of the other training establishments, graduating officers, proud parents and families, esteemed veterans, senior officers, instructors, staff, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to be here to review the combined graduation parade of 215 course. I consider myself specifically lucky to get an opportunity to review 2 consecutive CGPs. It just seems like yesterday that I was here as the RO for 214 course. For that matter, it seems like yesterday that my own commissioning, which was 40 years back. Nothing much has changed. It was very similar setting, if I can remember. Yes, it was a different venue, tarmac in front of the flying faculty those days, and we were in khakis. At the outset, I must compliment all on parade for an outstanding performance with immaculate turnout and crisp drill movements. Everyone here will agree that what we saw today was not just a display of military precision, it was a reflection of unwavering spirit of the Indian Air Force. I would like to congratulate all of you for successfully completing the rigorous training and being commissioned as officers. Special congratulations to the officers from Indian Navy, Indian Coast Guard, and the trainee from Vietnam for earning the coveted wings. Let me tell you that we are as proud of you as your own services. Hope you will take back happy memories of your stay here to cherish, and your training here will serve to strengthen the bond between Indian Air Force and your service. My heartfelt gratitude to the proud parents and relatives of the 215 course officers, as your rock-solid support has enabled them to achieve their dreams. Your sacrifice and trust has been and will always remain instrumental in each of their success. The nation and Indian Air Force will remain forever indebted to you. I would also like to acknowledge the sincere efforts of AOC&C Training Command, Commandant Air Force Academy, commanders of the other training establishment, and your teams of instructors and staff, and compliment you all for the successful completion of training of yet another course with the expected high standards. Coming back to the young officers, when you decided to serve the nation, you chose a career that is not only challenging, but also most rewarding and honorable. As we look towards the future, two things are certain: fast evolving character of warfare and the increased relevance of the aerospace power. Operation Sindoor stands as a shining testament to the unparalleled prowess of the Indian Air Force, wherein we demonstrated our capability to deliver swift, precise, and decisive blows to the enemy. You, as the future of this Air Force, must understand that Air Force has been and will always remain the first responder. It is our collective responsibility to live up to the trust placed in the Indian Air Force by each and every citizen of India, and we must be ready and prepared for this. Today's ceremony marks the culmination of years of perseverance and structured training as a cadet, but it is only the beginning of your learning journey. Continue to expand your horizons and discover new capabilities. The battlefield is going to be more and more complex, and you will need to continuously train and retrain to succeed in future conflicts. With Indian Air Force fast evolving into aerospace force, many of you will lead the nation's foray into space. All these challenges will require you to be totally committed, focused, innovative, and passionate about your job. Remember, our strength comes not just from individual excellence, but from cohesion of the whole team. No branch operates in isolation, whether in sky or on ground. Each one of us has a vital role to play. Make sure that you understand your role and give your best to bring glory to our motherland. Operation Sindoor has showcased exceptional coordination, synergy, and integration within the armed forces. You must keep furthering the spirit of jointness as you grow in service. Remember, remaining fighting fit should remain as one of your KRAs as you grow professionally in service. You must focus on physical and mental fitness and personality development through healthy lifestyle. Remember, the oath that you took of bearing allegiance to the Constitution of India is a commitment for life. Faithfully discharge your duties to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of our nation. In a few moments from now, you will take your Pratham Pug into the Indian Air Force. Now onwards, you will no longer be greenhorns, but competent officers ready to take on any challenge. You are the architects of the Indian Air Force's destiny. This huge responsibility should not weigh you down, but should become a motivating factor in your lives. Finally, I urge each one of you in blues to uphold the ethos, honor, and traditions of IAF. Wear your uniform with pride and purpose, lead from the front, and always remember the core values of IAF: mission, integrity, and excellence, and these will be your guiding beacons as you navigate through your career. On behalf of the entire Indian Air Force, I extend a warm welcome to the newly commissioned officers and wish an exciting and fulfilling career to the graduates. May God bless you all with blue skies and happy landings. Jai Hind.
Action, parade! Done! Action, parade! Action!
Ladies and gentlemen, the band will now play the national anthem. You all are requested to stand and sing along.
राष्ट्रगान शुरू कर। जय श्रीमान।
जय हिंद।
दीक्षांत परेड को ले जाने की आज्ञा दे श्रीमान।
आज्ञा है। जय हिंद।
जय श्रीमान।
देवियों एवं सज्जनों, जब निशान को सलामी दी जाएगी तब आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि आप अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं और जो वर्दी में हैं वे सलामी दें।
निशान चले, निशान को ले जाओ, निशान चले।
The band is now playing Northern Border, composed and arranged by Master Warrant Officer J.A. George, Vishish Seva Medal. and gentlemen, as the newly commissioned officers are marching out, up ahead, you can see the flight cadets of the junior course marching in. They will form up in two flanks through which their senior course, which has just been commissioned, will pass. The newly commissioned officers are taking their position at the rear, waiting to step into their new world. Each step signifies their transformation into bold and responsible officers of the Indian Air Force, ready to serve the nation. The newly commissioned officers are now marching to the tune of Auld Lang Syne as they pass through the formation of the junior course. In slow march, they receive their first salute from their juniors. Their hearts are filled with immense pride and satisfaction for having passed the cherished values and traditions down to their juniors. With every step, they recollect their memorable stay at Air Force Academy and people associated with them in their year-long training. These are the people who have helped them to make it to this day, an indelible moment for them and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, you can now see the officers marching towards the dais. As they march past the saluting dais, they would extend their first salute as officers to the reviewing officer. As the newly commissioned officers approach the dais, may I direct your attention to the 3 Kiran aircraft formation led by Wing Commander Manorat Singh Sabarwal approaching from straight ahead.
न हाथ एक शस्त्र हो, न हाथ एक अस्त्र हो, न अन्न वीर वस्त्र हो, हटो नहीं, डरो नहीं, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो। रहे समक्ष हिम शिखर, तुम्हारा प्रण उठे निखर, भले ही जाए जन बिखर, रुको नहीं, झुको नहीं, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो। घटा घिरी अटूट हो, अधर में काल कूट हो, वही सुधा का घूंट हो, जिए चलो, मरे चलो, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो। गगन उगलता आग हो, छिड़ा मरण का राग हो, लहू का अपने फाग हो, अड़ो वहीं, गड़ो वहीं, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो। चलो नई मिसाल हो, चलो नई मिसाल हो, बढ़ो नया कमाल हो, झुको नहीं, रुको नहीं, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो। अशेष रक्त तोल दो, स्वतंत्रता का मोल दो, कड़ी युगों की खोल दो, डरो नहीं, मरो नहीं, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो। ये पंक्तियां संदेश देती हैं कि इन नवनियुक्त अधिकारियों के लिए आज की यह भोर इन पंछियों के लिए एक नई उड़ान लेकर आई है। ये वीर सपूत अपने भाग्य की ओर चल पड़े हैं और कहते हैं, जिंदगी की असली उड़ान अभी बाकी है, मंजिलों के कई इम्तिहान अभी बाकी हैं। अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमी हमने, अभी तो सारा आसमान बाकी है।
Ladies and gentlemen, look straight ahead. The 3 Hawk aircraft formation by Wing Commander Tejas coverage.
हर शिखर को पार करने का प्रण लिए, हर चुनौती का डट कर सामना करने का जोश लिए, चल पड़े हैं वीर सपूत एक नई राह पर, चल पड़े हैं लगाकर पंख एक नए आसमान की तलाश पर।
After the parade, you will be treated by a captivating low-level aerobatic display by Pilatus PC-7 Mark II aircraft. This will be followed by formation displays by the enthralling Surya Kiran aerobatic team in the Hawk aircraft.